The Sciforror Film Podcast. Hello
Can you
and
hear
welcome.
Sorry, can you hear my fan? Sorry.
What fan?
Is it picking? That's what I'm asking. Can you pick? Is it picking it up or anything?
I don't know. I can't hear anything.
Oh,
I can hear.
that's right. Sorry.
Hello and welcome to the Sciforror Film Podcast. I am Andy Walker and I'm here with my son Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Are you relatively recovered now?
Tooth-wise, yes. Hurt a lot, and I really, really hate the fact. And I've admitted to this to a lot of people, and a lot of people are taking the piss and mickey out of me. I don't get scared of the dentist. Never have done. But this time, genuinely terrified the life out of me, and everyone had laughed at me about it.
Why?
I don't know. Well, why is it Aaron? Why
Yeah,
was I terrified of
why
people
were you
taking me?
terrified?
I don't know. I think it's because of the fact that, like, normally when I've gone, it's been like routine checkups or fill-ins. So there's not been. But like when I booked it, they went, "Oh yeah, it's going to take about an hour, could be more." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not terrifying at all."
Did they take the nerve out?
Yeah.
Did he wave it in your face and go, "Look at that"?
No, he didn't.
No, that's what mine did.
No. All the thing is, when I had an emergency procedure
Right.
a couple of days before, so because of the amount of pain I was in, I was on the verge of not being able to sleep and everything like that. So they actually took most of the nerve out and then just filled it with steroid part. So when the doctor done it, when the dentist done it, it was only a little bit they needed actually doing.
See, they took my entire nerve out, and I'm laying there in the chair, or laying back in the chair, having been in immense pain, still in a certain amount of pain, with this lunatic wiggling this thing right in front of my eyes that was covered in blood and looked like Earthworm Jim out of his suit. And he wiggled in front of me, going, "There it is."
Now my dentist has realised though that obviously me being a heavy set person, that this is his words. Due to the fact that I'm more heavy set and sort of not the average build what they do for it. The average amount that they normally give of Novocaine and numbing drugs doesn't work on someone my size.
Yeah, no, I know that.
So when he done what he normally does and sat there and went, "Okay, we'll start," and I'm like, I can still feel everything. And he was like, "What?" And sat there moving. I'm like, "Yeah, that still hurts. I can still feel it." And he sat there afterwards. He was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. It takes a lot more to numb you." And I was like, "Yeah."
Imagine what it was like for me at the time I did mine. I was self-medicated by about a bottle and a half of scotch a day as well.
Yeah.
So
this is what it's the fact he went to me. If it doesn't work, come back in about a month or so. But if it doesn't work, you think I'm gonna wait a month. So,
right.
But other than that, I'm fine. I'm back to reasonable sanity.
We got flies in here, and I'm trying to karate chop them.
I love the fact that I said reasonable sanity. Obviously, I know you explained it, but it looks like you just started attacking.
So
how are you, Farmer? Anyway, sorry.
Well, I'm hot and fed up and all that kind of thing. Same as normal, really.
Yeah.
Getting old. I'm old. That's what I am. Just to say, we apologise for the fact that we had a week without an episode, but due to the situation with young Scott's teeth and things, it was decided that we'd probably be best leave it.
Wasn't able to talk every time I did, I then wanted to rip my tooth out with a pair of pliers.
Absolutely.
So we thought that giving it a miss with us talking for an hour probably wasn't a good idea.
No. So here we are again anyway. Let's get on with the diddly-daddly stuff, shall we?
Yes.
3 very interesting films this week. 2 short films and a feature film. The first of the short films is from 2022 on ACM Films, and it's called Mukbang. Written and directed by Alex Magana. Cast is Becky Bush and Juliette Cecile. And the synopsis for this says, "This is a food challenge to die for." And I suppose it is.
Yeah.
So I watched this thinking 2 things about it, both of which proved to be wrong.
Okay.
Well, it's a comedy horror thing.
Yeah.
I unfortunately thought it was going to be really funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was amusing, but not really funny.
Yeah.
I also thought it might end up being a bit kind of sick, if you like. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of,
Yeah. A bit of a gore.
yeah, not sick in a nasty bad way, but sick in a kind of funny way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
No.
And I was a bit disappointed. I mean, it looks really good. It's filmed well. The acting's good. The ending, it didn't end the way I thought it would and should have. I
Yeah.
thought it would have been better if it had ended with a bit more of a bang, shall we say?
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. I was expecting a bit more of a, if you say, like as you say, it's sort of, I agree with you. Know, I sat there and I thought there was certain ways this was going to be. It was going to be a bit more funny, or it was going to be a bit more, I don't know, a bit more something to it. And
Yeah,
the things that I've watched people do this in not in real life. Obviously, I've watched other people do this as influencers. Yeah, the fact that I know, like, there's people like that the people are out there that do the stuff that supposedly. It's just like it was the whole shock of the fact that she went and done it again
yeah,
without talking to her roommate first.
yeah.
If you see someone, or you found out that someone was spying on you, would you not go and talk to the person that you live with just to go, do you know, this
Yeah.
is what, and just to be a bit more concerned and redo it? And I'd be more worried about someone breaking into the house than, or someone doing that what I did than
Yeah, but
someone
you see,
leaking out.
you got to remember the fact that a lot of the people who do these sort of things online on YouTube or TikTok or all those sort of things are more concerned about the amount of people they watch them and the amount of people that like their posts than they are about almost anything else.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's kind of what it feeds into, this sort of thing.
Yeah, so
I just don't. I don't think the whole film went far enough. It could have
no,
been so much
it.
better.
I'd say it's more. I get the fact it had the sort of horror aspect to it, but I'd say it's more of a sort of thriller bit than it was
Well,
horror. Or just, I wouldn't say there's much of the. Okay, yeah, it's the whole creepiness bit, but I don't think there was much of a horror vibe
no, I
to
was
it.
going to say
And
that's why I was expecting it to go a bit further and be a bit
yeah,
more
I've
kind
got
of,
to admit, like when they, especially when they kept zooming in at her stomach and everything, I thought, oh,
yeah,
something's gonna give, or you're gonna see something, and then the overreacting as she claps on the floor, what I thought was quite funny. But other
yeah,
than that, I just like, oh, was that it?
yeah, yeah. Still, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just us. I'm starting to be worried that it's us that's a bit too sick for the films that we're watching.
Yeah, oh, well, I've got to admit, the next one, I will say, bear in mind how much I love quite gruesome things, did turn my stomach.
Okay, well, let's go on to the next one then, shall we? The second film is called It's Not Custard. This is from 2018, written and directed by Kate McCoy. Cast is Charlotte Luxford, Ellis Janda Bantic, Kate Lepier, Donald Cox, Tom Sims, Will Cox, and Alexa Zeddy. Now, this is quite a long synopsis for this. It says, the synopsis for this says, the darkly comic story of Louise, a teenage suffering from unrelenting acne and continual bullying. At home from her cruel older sister Jennifer, and at school from tormentors in and out of class. She wishes to cease their teasing, and she is presented with such an opportunity when she awakes to find her acne gone. However, the magical gift has a bizarre consequence, and it's one that favours our hero. I love this film. I thought it was brilliant.
I'm going to say something. The reason why I did the stupid thing. Obviously, we were going to do this. Like, I do this quite a lot, rewatch them every now, just so I can keep regulating my head. And I thought to myself halfway I watched this the first time, don't need to watch that again.
Yeah,
It's to the stick. And then, as I said to you today, that I rewatched them because it didn't. And then as soon as it got to the bit which sort of I turned it on, I went, I remember everything of this. And I was like, and it's saying the whole way the whole way through, I was like, I could feel my stomach getting worse and worse and worse. I was like, this is going to make it. And as soon as she walks, the sister walks into the room, I'm like,
I
and it
love.
genuinely turned my stomach. And I don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from the film. I love the fact that this film did that. Like, I've sat there and I've watched some seriously twisted,
Yeah,
very very wrong horror films, and as we talked about on this, I've watched Human Centipede. Not a problem with that. This genuinely made me feel sick, and it's quite an impressive film to do that.
I mean, I mean, it's odd and it's funny
Mm.
and it's disgusting in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, the effects are really good,
Yes.
but I love it because it just made me absolutely roar with laughter. I just thought it was so funny.
It's the fact that the whole way through it, I was just like, when you see, like, obviously, not, I don't know whether or not it shows on the camera or not, but I used to suffer quite a lot, so I've got quite a few scars and stuff like that. So I did suffer with acne. So I know, I sort of felt strongly with the girl, and like, not so much obviously because I didn't used to being a big guy and the stuff that I did. I never really got picked on about it, but sort of, I was like, yeah, no, I understand why she was being a bit like, you know what, I don't care, bugger off and all that. And then, but it was just the set design,
Yeah,
like the wall, I thought was amazing. But as saying, as soon as her sister walks in, as soon as you hear her say the line, "Why is the kitchen full of custard?"
yeah.
I sat there and I was just like, "Ooh." Yeah, and I knew what was going to happen, and it even worse the second time because I was counting it down,
I,
and
wa-
obviously she then walks out, and I was like, it's amazing the fact it genuinely turned my stomach."
I must admit that when I got to the end of this film, I actually sat and thought, there's a few people I'd really like to show this film to because I know it'll make them feel really ill.
Yeah. Well, I sat there and I watched these ones. I watched it last time by myself. I was going to rewatch them today with Amy, but she's not been feeling too well, so I rewatched them again. And I sat there and she was like, "So what are these films like?" And I'm like, no matter how much I describe them to you, no matter how much I say to you, to just give you scene by scene, it is not going to do it any good. You need to watch it. And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because it's just like it's not going to do it any justice. You need to watch it because it's that good of a film."
See, I think your sister would find it interesting. I don't think she
Yeah.
could physically watch it, but I think she would
We
find
should
it.
be able to watch it to a point.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our two short films done. Now, the third film is a feature film from 1993. This is an Australian feature film called Body Melt. This is a comedy sci-fi film. Now, it was directed and written by a guy called Philip Brophy, and it was also co-written by a guy called Rod Bishop. They both, what I love is the fact that they were both involved also in the making of a film with a fantastic title. And the title of that is Salt, Saliva, Sperm and Sweat, which I don't know what it's about. But
No, and it's
given
it's
what,
not something you really just type that in Google, really, because
no,
that would come up with some really bizarre stuff.
given the fact that given what this film is like, I'm not sure I want to know what it's about.
No, there is that.
The cast of this film. Now, I was looking. The majority of the people in this film have, at one time or another, been in an Australian soap opera. Most of them have been in Neighbours.
Yeah.
Some of them have been in The Flying Doctors and a couple of other ones, the Sullivans and Sons and Daughters, things like that. But they've all been in Australian soap operas, so most people will have seen them around in something.
Yeah.
But the cast is Gerard Kennedy, Andrew Daddo, Ian Smith. Now, Ian Smith played a main character in Neighbours. He played Harold in Neighbours, and he's very well known for that. So I was surprised to see him in this. Then we have where are we? Regina Kagalis, Vincent Gill, Neil Foley, Anthea Davis, Matthew Newton, Leslie Baker, Amy Grove Rogers, Adrian Wright, Gillian Murray, Ben Gurens, Amanda Douche, Brett Climo, and Lisa McCoon. Now, the synopsis for this film says, residents of peaceful Pebbles Court, Holmesville, are being used unknowingly as test experiments for a new body drug that causes rapid body decomposition and painful death.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Now, again, I didn't watch this one twice, and I'm very glad I didn't. It confused the life out of me for most of it,
Okay.
mainly because of the fact that I wasn't 100% sure until about, I think it's about halfway through, that they sort of explain it. What the hell the hillbilly family, redneck,
Yeah. No, I
sort of
agree.
inbred family were about, which confused the life out of me. I don't know, it was a very odd film, and it seemed to be all over the place. But do you know what? I genuinely don't know how to put this into words.
Okay.
It's not many
Well,
times that I've watched a film when it's left me stumped or speechless, but this is one of them.
I
I
mean,
sat there just like,
it's a bizarre film. It's kind of funny-ish, kind of sick-ish. I honestly think that this is an edited version, because I think there were parts of it that looked like they were about to go further than you saw, but it just suddenly cuts to something else. So I think this might be an edited version of the full version. I don't know.
possibly, yeah.
Either that or it was just edited in different in a very odd way. I know what you mean. No, I know what you mean about the family. I
Yeah,
honestly think it was almost like there were two separate films that they kind of stuck together and found a way of linking them to make one big film.
yeah,
Because the Albury family, it was almost like a sort of comedy remake of The Hills Have Eyes.
yeah. I did think that it was just bizarre. Like it was the whole like you see people doing the whole like the cops talking and the whole following the whole vitamin trials and stuff like. And then all of a sudden it goes to the two kids in the car, and I'm like, and I genuinely thought for a minute, like, apart from the fact like I clocked you see him like, earlier on, but I'm like, is this being edited with another film?
Yeah,
And then suddenly when I went, okay, no, they're the two from the beginning. Yeah, okay. And then when they pull in to get the windshield fixed, and I'm like, what the
yeah.
what? And then obviously it jumped back, and I'm like, what? I was like, did I miss something?
No, I mean it does. It looks like they had an idea for two ideas for films and just found a way of linking together so that they could make a feature film out of them,
Yeah,
because they probably couldn't find the right way of doing it. I don't know.
it was bizarre.
I mean, I like it, but it's the problem I think with this film is it's a bit too long and drawn out.
Yeah,
For what it is, it's just kind of there's lots of lots of bits in the middle of this film that really don't go anywhere or do anything, and it
Yeah,
just kind of feels like,
there's a
why are
lot
we?
of bits that sort of were I don't know, I've bits that were drawn out too much, or bits that were just sort of the same and act like over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It just, I mean, the way the two, what I think were two separate films were linked together was okay, not brilliant, but it worked, ish. And
I just,
I think for a 1990s Australian sci-fi comedy thing
yeah.
was okay.
But what I love though is that like it was quite I don't know, sort of discotheque music that was playing the whole way through it.
Yeah.
Apart from the hillbilly, the hillbilly scientist dad that was singing very badly
Mm.
certain rock songs, but only certain lines to them.
But I mean, I was a bit miffed as to how a guy in the situation he was in managed to find this or come up with this formula.
Oh, I think he was one of the scientists beforehand, and then, but again, it's not very well explained.
No, and it's not. I don't know. It just
Yeah, there's a
it
lot of things
I
to
mean,
this that I've.
I mean, it was a very cheaply made film. I think it was
Don't
a
get me
low
wrong,
budget.
some of the makeup was good though.
Oh yeah, some of the makeup and effects were well done. I mean, the effect of this thing, whatever it was that had got into these people's bodies, that was sort of like and then coming out of their throats and things like that was
Yeah,
brilliant.
and like the makeup of the guy that's mouth track was changing, like was
Yeah,
split open. I thought was very well done. Don't get me wrong, there were a couple of bits that I looked at and went really,
yeah.
but there was a lot of it that was just like I could see sort of the money went on the makeup. It's just
I mean, I think this film could have been half as long and just as good.
yeah,
Um,
it's it's definitely it's weird though because of the fact we've sat there and we've watched a few of these films and it's weird to see like a film from Australia and stuff like that. I always said they're not very. It's not a lot of them.
no, I mean,
They're like from New Zealand, Australia, places like that. They don't seem to push out a lot of. They do, but they don't the ones that get recognised. And
yeah,
I sat there watching this and I was like, it's a very typical '90s film.
yeah.
From wherever it was in the cut, like wherever it would have been in the world, it was a very typical '90s film.
True. I think it's nice to see. It's nice to watch things that aren't American or
Yeah,
British, horror and sci-fi stuff because
mm,
there's a lot of good stuff out there from all over the place. I mean, I think that the Australian market has kind of grown a lot since the 90s, and I think part of that is due to people like Peter Jackson and
yeah,
people like that coming out of there, and some of the films they did before they sort of
yeah,
became really big. But yeah, it's got a lot going for it, this film, but I don't think it actually achieves its full potential because I think it's just too long and drawn out and not enough
yeah.
action.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot going for it. I just don't think it achieves it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think it's too much. There's too sorry, it's too much stuff that's going on at once. I think it's just and a lot of it is drawn out and not explained very
yeah.
well. I think if
I did like the coppers though because they were brilliant. They were really typical sort of your typical sort of TV film coppers,
yeah,
and kind of really didn't understand what the hell was they were doing and
yeah,
what
you
was
had
going on.
the one that was like the sort of guy that's been around for a while and it's just sort of knows everyone and like that,
Yeah,
everything like that, and is sort of suave and sophisticated, and then you've got like the young one who thinks he knows everything. And I thought it was just so well done. And the mortician, I think, was the best bit of it.
yes, he was good. I must
It
admit.
like this sort of stoner mortician that was just amazing.
He was good, but it was really weird for me to watch this and watch the guy from Neighbours, the guy who played Harold, as this kind of like slightly mad doctor.
Yeah,
It was just like that's really odd watching him in
yeah,
that sort of
it's
role.
sort of mad doctor that was. He was I don't know just very bizarrely played. Yeah, I do
Yeah,
agree with you. It was. it's weird seeing. I mean, how much of a reputation he got as Harold in that
Yeah.
man, the person he was in that, to then see him was this and like, what?
So yeah, well there you go. There's our 3 films. We've got Mukbang from 2022, It's Not Custard from 2018, and Body Melt from 1993. I will say now we're not going to do it this season, but we might do it next season. You never know. Mukbang, there is a follow-up. There is a Mukbang 2. So I don't know what that's like. I haven't watched it at all. But
I thought for a minute though, I genuinely like my heart jumped into my throat because I thought you were going to say there is a Body Melt too.
Oh no! Oh, there might be. I don't know. I haven't thought about looking for that.
Oh no!
It might be. We'll have to do Street Trash sometime. That's a good fun film.
It does also show as well that for anyone that's watching this, vitamins are not always good for you. Sometimes you do just need to have a good old fry up.
Yeah, not those sort of vitamins anyway. Right. Okay. So there you go. Thank you very much, Scott, for your insight and thingy thing.
Okay.
And we will be back again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Yes. Next week, more of the same, except for completely different things and all of that kind of stuff. Till then, goodbye.
Bye.
The Sciforror Film Podcast.